All right, let's get right into it. What if the people most likely to betray you aren't your enemies at all? What if they're actually your friends? Today, we're diving deep into a law from the 48 Laws of Power that is so unsettling, so controversial, that a lot of people just refuse to believe it's true.
It's a really brutal question, isn't it? But trust me, understanding the answer, well, that's the absolute key to mastering law number 2.
Now, in our last explainer, we covered law number 1, never outshine the master. And that one was tricky enough, right? But this law, this one is different. It's way more personal. It forces all of us to look at the people we trust the most and start to question everything.
So, where does this all begin? Well, it all starts with something that seems so innocent: proximity. Yeah, the very closeness of friendship, that feeling that feels so safe, so comfortable, can actually become a hidden battleground the moment power, money, or status enters the picture.
Okay, let's be really clear here. This law isn't saying your friends are all secretly evil, just waiting to stab you in the back. Not at all. It's saying that close relationships are fueled by emotion. And in the cold, hard game of power, you have to understand that emotion can be a huge liability. It completely clouds your judgment.
So, how does a friendship actually die? You know, it almost never happens overnight. It's more like a slow poison. It just starts with this tiny flicker of jealousy, maybe a quiet comparison in the back of their mind. Then trust starts to crack, and it gets replaced by this unspoken competition. Frustration builds up over 1,000 little things, until all that's left is this deep, bitter resentment. That, right there, is the pipeline that can shatter even the strongest alliances.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's make this real. Because it's one thing to talk about these ideas, but this plays out in the real world. Every single day.
Just picture this for a second. 2 best friends, right? They launch a business built on a shared dream. In the beginning, the energy is just electric. But then, success hits, and maybe one partner starts getting more of the spotlight while the other feels like they're being left in the shadows. All of a sudden, every little decision becomes a power struggle. And you know what? The fiercest battles they fight aren't even with their competitors. They're fought across the boardroom table with the one person they thought they could always count on.
So why? What is the actual psychology at play here? It's simple, really. Friends are dangerous precisely because they feel so safe. They know your weaknesses. They've seen your insecurities. They have all these expectations of you. And because of that, when they feel slighted, their attacks are deeply personal and emotional. An enemy, on the other hand? Well, they're almost refreshingly predictable. There are no illusions. You know exactly where you stand with them.
And this right here, this leads us to the central twist of the law. This is the part that most people completely miss. See, it's not just about being wary of your friends. It's about understanding the surprising value of an adversary.
Just think about that for a second. A former enemy has everything to prove. Their loyalty becomes a performance, right? A constant effort to earn their spot. A friend often takes your loyalty for granted. They might feel entitled to your help, your time, and can even start to resent you for your own success.
So let's just break this down side by side. Your friend, they operate on emotion. A former enemy, they operate on pure strategy. A friend expects favors from you. An enemy expects nothing more than a clear professional transaction. A friend's loyalty is just assumed, and because of that, it can waver. But an enemy's loyalty has to be earned, again and again, which ironically often makes it far more reliable in the long run.
Okay, so the crucial point here is not to become some paranoid hermit who trusts absolutely no one. That's not the goal. It's about developing a strategic awareness of human nature. So let's talk about how you build a practical defense around this.
So how do you actually protect yourself without just becoming paranoid? Well, that really comes down to 4 key defensive moves. Step 1, you have to separate your emotions from your strategy. Step 2, maintain professional distance and boundaries even with your friends. Step 3, this one's huge. Judge people by what they do, not just by what they say. And step 4, this is the golden rule. Never, ever base a critical decision solely on friendship.
You know, at the end of the day, the simple truth is, well, it's a little harsh. Human relationships are just incredibly complex. And nothing, absolutely nothing, reveals their true nature, both the good and the bad, quite like the introduction of power.
So, now you know who to watch out for. But that leads to an even more critical question, doesn't it? How do you hide what you're really planning?
Join us next time as we dive headfirst into law number 3, conceal your intentions. You are not going to want to miss it.